Hey everybody, this is Derek. It is the 20th of October 2010, and there's an interesting little article that has managed to come my way. End of the Earth postponed. This was written Tuesday, October 19th at 3:29 p.m. by Stephanie Papaz from Live Science, a senior writer. The link, like always, is down below. And let's start off with the article. Quote, it's a good news, bad news situation for believers in the 2012 Mayan apocalypse. The good news is that the Mayan long count calendar may not end on December 21st, 2012, and by extension, the world may not end along with it. The bad news for the prophecy believers, if the calendar doesn't end in December 2012, no one knows when it actually will, or if it has already. End quote. And I read this article first last night, and I only read the first paragraph, and what I read at the end was, or if it has already, if we've already had the end of this calendar, because, my gosh, if you think that the Mayan calendar has already ended, then I'm totally missing a lot of things after all the research that I've done, or there's been a lack of research on the part of the individuals who decided to put this article together. And when would it have ended? Would it have been May the 7th, 2004? Was it when we had the Vietnam War? Was it when John decided to buy more peaches than he should have in the year 1888? My goodness. And there's even okay. The good news is that it hasn't ended. And they move on to state that there's another 50 or 100 years. Now, how could that be good news? 50 to 100 more years of darkness is good news for you? But like I said, I don't think you understand how when you move past this age, when you move past the date of the Mayan calendar, you move into an age where it's starts fractionally more positive than it does negative. And right now, it is plain and clear to see that this world, the whole consciousness, the entire part of the consciousness, is that of negative over positive. So it's good news for us to have more pain for the next 5 or 7 or 8, 9, 10 decades. It's good news for that. And for the pain to just even intensify so much more, because if we got 50 to 100 years, we got a long ways to go. After all, if it was 50 to 100 years from now, that means that the changes that occurred from the start of the millennium, 2000 to now, would be about the same as they were from about 1988 to the end of Y2K. That means we've had just the same amount of hurricanes and all of these natural disasters in these 10.5 years than the 12 or so years before then. And to me, it seems pretty obvious that we've had about a decent increase in the matter. Same amount of technology increases should have arose from point A to point B. To me, it seems extremely clear that the amount of changes that has happened since 2000 is at least 20 to 25% greater than they were for the 10 years that was prior to the event, or the 11 years, the same amount of time. Because it is stated in this article, that is, that a textbook, Calendars in Years, Part 2, Astronomy and Time in the Ancient and Medieval World, argues that the conversion of dates from the Mayan to the modern calendar may be off as much as 50 to 100 years. And I find that very interesting how they see that information and they have done nothing to study the Mayan calendar and to see if what they are saying could actually be correct in the matter. It's it's a little mind-boggling to say the least. And as far as this being an apocalyptic type of an event, it may seem as if that to be the case, but nowhere from my research, and even from what a lot of the Mayans have said, is this is to be the end of the world. Total end. For the end of the world, or the end of the calendar, should have a breakdown of negative society. It should have the movement of ethics starting to come in, which is obviously happening right now. And I say this because part of the ethical movement is understanding what is right and wrong. That is going on in major full force, whether it be the foods that we have. We were blinded to all that before, whether it be towards the monetary system. We were blinded to that before. Now, I've been debating this December 21st, 2012 date for quite some time. I've got no proof on it either. The only evidence is every Tom, Dick, and Harry is stating this date. And when one person says it, that means the next says it, which means the next, and so on. But by 50 to 100 years, I mean, really? 50 to 100 more years of this darkness at much grander levels. Basically, what this means is that by the time we get to like 2080, or whenever the end would be, sorry about that mic sound, by the time we get to that point, that means we will have 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 earthquakes a day, which would start to go up to 100, 200, 300, 400. We would end up having about 5, 6, 7, 8 tsunamis every day. And the reason why I'm saying this is because things grow exponentially. And if we have to continue to grow exponentially for another 50, 60, 70 years, it boggles my mind how that could even be possible. So this information, this article that I'm talking about, I am really majorly taking with a grain of salt. I'm still on the search for trying to figure out when that date is. I've heard people talking about that no one shall know the date, the hour, and all that type of stuff in the biblical prophecies. And I got two different comments within that. One, if they mean the end of the world, then of course, because this is not the end of the world, that means we could know the day, the time, and all that kind of stuff. And if we are not supposed to know this exact time, then we'll be continuously trying to wonder about it. We will find the date out when it's close to happening, but we won't know the time. We'll get more into that later on. However, I read this. I'm just going to pretty much end this at that now. If you look at it, take it with a grain of salt. At least that's what I would do, because I'm just reading on below here. There is nothing on here to give me any type of solid evidence that what they're saying is correct.